Hey guys, welcome back to Texas Family Life. Today I'm going to walk you step by step how to make a sourdough starter. First, you're going to use 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I'm using King Arthur here. It's a great brand, but I'm sure any wheat flour would do. You just want high quality so you have your best chance. Then you're also going to add a cup of filtered water. I'm just using bottled water, but you can use Berkey water. Don't use tap because chlorine and other things get added into the tap water, which can inhibit your starter. Mix it together thoroughly, and I'm wiping the rim here so my towel does not stick to it. You're going to cover lightly with a cloth. You want to let air be able to get in and out of the bowl to help your starter to grow. Set it overnight. So the next day, you're going to look at your sourdough starter, stir it around a bit, and then, believe it or not, you're going to throw a cup of it away. Yes, you're going to scoop up a whole cup of it and discard it. In the future, you can use discards to make other recipes, but in the beginning process, you just want to get rid of it. Once you have removed that cup, you're going to add another cup of whole wheat flour, just like the day before, and another cup of filtered water. Now, the reason we throw away the discard is because it hasn't really gotten going yet, and also because if you kept all the discard, it would just end up overflowing your bowl by the end of the week. So you're gonna mix that around thoroughly again. Go ahead and wipe the rim of the bowl if you're messy at all like me, and cover, set aside for the next day. On day 3, you should be pretty used to this process. It's fun to watch how the starter changes from day to day. Today you're gonna see, hopefully, more bubbles in your discard. And that should tell you that it's starting to come alive and grow, and that is great news. Unfortunately, you are, again, going to discard a cup of this sourdough. See all those bubbles in there? That's what you should be seeing. Stir it around to get it mixed around real well, and then throw away 1 more cup. Like the other days, you're going to add another cup of your whole wheat flour and another cup of your filtered water and stir that quite vigorously. As usual, I am wiping the rim of my bowl and covering. I like to set mine next to my oven so it can get a little bit of warmth. It's becoming winter time here in Texas, so it can be quite cold some days. On day 4, I see some obvious growth in mine. It's getting a little bit of a layer on top of liquid, and that's meaning it needs to be fed a little bit more. So at this point, I'm going to start feeding it every 12 hours. So I'm going to just stir it in. It's not bad to have that liquid on top. It's just a good sign that your sourdough starter is becoming hungry and you need to feed it more often. So since it's probably evening here, I'm going to feed it first thing in the morning on day 5. Add in your cup of water and your cup of flour as usual, stir, and put it away. On day 5, your sourdough starter may not look much different than it has all the other days. So I'm just doing the regular, adding a cup, taking a cup out, adding a cup. It just gets pretty routine and it becomes pretty enjoyable, actually. You'd think having 5 kids and a husband to feed would be enough, but nope, I'm taking on another thing to feed. Maybe my love language is feeding things. So coming up on day 6, you should be about ready to use your sourdough starting, which is very exciting, but it can take up to 2 weeks to really get it going. There are a few tests you can do to see if it is ready. One is dropping a spoonful of starter in water. See the bubbles in this, it's very ready, it's very lively. So today I'm going to make some buns from my sourdough. And I will put the actual recipe below in the description box. I did get it from Farmhouse on Boone. So she has so many great recipes, and that's the one that I follow here. So this is a softer sourdough recipe, which I really enjoy. Sometimes sourdough can have a pretty hard crust, but this one is very good. It calls for honey, salt, milk, an egg, and some butter. And of course, you're going to use your sourdough starter, which is so exciting. You do want to make sure your butter and everything has cooled to room temperature though, because if you add the sourdough to a very hot mixture, it will kill the sourdough starter and it will have a poor rise. Stir all of these ingredients together to make sure they're well incorporated, and next you're going to add the flour. I believe it calls for 3 cups. A lot of sourdough recipes want you to weigh each ingredient, and I just don't do that. I have tried doing it that way, but the way I'm measuring right now, it does just fine, and everything turns out perfectly. And that's why I also enjoy Farmhouse on Boone's recipes, because most of them do not call for weighing. Now my stand mixer was broken, but you can use your dough hook on your stand mixer to mix all the ingredients together. But if you do it by hand, it is possible. It just takes some muscle and some perseverance for sure. Yep, mine had a glass bowl and it broke, and I have not replaced it yet. I'm taking a break. But you just keep stirring it. You want it to be soft and elastic. And if you've ever made bread, you know that sometimes you have to add a little bit more flour to help it be the right consistency. So that happened to be the case for this recipe for me. I kept adding a little bit of flour. I might have added an extra half a cup, but just to keep it from sticking. So I really had to get working with it. I truly think that if you use your stand mixer, it'll do all this for you. But I love actually using my hands and making my bread. It feels like there's so much more love put into it, and it just feels special. So once your dough gets to the proper consistency, you're gonna put it in an oiled bowl and let it rise. I'm using some extra virgin olive oil here. And just pour it around and rub it around the bowl. And watch here. This is awful. Little lid came off and all the olive oil poured into my bowl. So then I had to stop and clean all that out. Now you're going to put your dough in that bowl and flip it so it doesn't dry out. Cover the bowl and let it sit for 8 hours. Of course, I got a kangaroo baby here as usual. She was fussy, so I had to hold her. But this dough was ready to go, and I couldn't let it sit much longer. So you're gonna stretch it out and cut it into 8 pieces. Then you're gonna just roll each piece into a ball, and when you roll on the counter, it helps make it more of a tight ball rather than just one you rolled up in your hands. So I'm kind of just tucking the bottom in underneath and scooting it on the counter, trying to get it to be a nice tight ball. So now you're gonna cover with a moist towel. You don't want it sopping wet or anything like that, but just a little bit of wetness. And you're gonna let it rise for another hour or 2. And if it rises a little bit longer, that's okay too. Once it has risen, you're gonna brush it with an egg and water mixture, just egg yolk and water. And then you can choose to sprinkle it with a topping of your desire. I'm going to use sesame seeds, but I bet this would be good with like the everything bagel seasoning or something like that. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit on each one so it's like authentic hamburger buns. You're gonna stick the buns in the oven and let them bake. And that is about it. You can use them for whatever you like. They are great with just butter. I hope you have a blessed rest of your week. Please like and subscribe if you liked this video. And don't forget to let me know if you try this recipe. I would love to know how it turns out for you. Bye guys, see you next time.